Cheers, my friends. Today's video, I want to talk about a dopamine detox, what it is and how you can do it. Now, whether you realize it or not, we've been doing so much throughout our lives that we're just so used to, at least myself, I've almost been programmed in a way to do all these things that are really just overstimulating my life. And once I realized that I was able to let go of doing all these things that I thought were just bringing me fulfillment, that I thought was giving me, gratification that I wanted in the moment, when I was able to let go of these things, the amount of peace that it brought me was just what's up, bird? It was just insane because we're so used to just overstimulating our lives, whether that's, Instagram, just looking at stuff on social media, scrolling, TikTok. I mean, if you look at the world we live in today, everything is just instant gratification. Everything is just built for a short attention span. And the reason is because we program ourselves to have this short attention span. I don't personally believe that's the way we're made. I don't think we're supposed to have that short of an attention span. And I think in order to reset that, you have to reprogram yourself. And by doing that, you do a dopamine detox. Now, what is dopamine? Dopamine is basically a chemical in your brain. It kind of gives you pleasure. It's a chemical in your brain where it wants to be fed. It wants to be fed that instant gratification. Like, let's say you do good on a project you've been working on at school or work, and then you get a good grade, and then you get that dopamine hit, and you're like, man, I felt good, we've replaced goal setting, we've replaced working towards goals by getting that instant gratification from things such as Instagram, TikTok, all these things that are very minimal, but whether we realize it or not, we're getting dopamine from that, and we keep on feeding it. And the biggest thing I've learned is to get off social media, right? And this is a problem. It's just such a problem because it causes so much overstimulation for us. And this overstimulation, it allows us not to really process things the way we're supposed to process things. It allows us not to have the attention span we're meant to have. And I realized this affected me in so many different areas, such as learning, setting my goals and working towards my goals, and actually sitting down and being productive and focusing on stuff. Because I'm so used to just getting it now, getting it then. And once I realized that, this is kind of odd. Everyone's like this. If you look around, everybody is like this. Especially, me being in school. I mean, I literally will walk out of class. The first thing people do is pull out their phone and just look at stuff. Look around, be present. And that's the main thing I want to talk about, is just being present. And I guess I'll share some of the things that have helped me along this detox. I haven't done it perfectly, but I've done simple steps in my life to help me kind of gain that peace and clarity back into my life. Obviously, the main thing is social media. Bro, you gotta put off that damn phone, man. Get off the damn phone. It's just insane to me. I mean, I've grown up with technology. I've grown up with social media. So you can imagine how used to scrolling and just looking at what other people are doing I am. I'm so used to doing that. And when I realized it's weird, who cares what other people are doing? Why am I giving my attention to this thing that's not giving me anything of value, right? You can use it as a tool, sure, and you can actually use it to get value out of it. But when you're using it for just instant dopamine hits, it's pointless. And you're wasting your energy when you could be putting it towards something else, something more productive. And that was the biggest thing for me, is just, putting down my phone every once in a while, So this is a weird thought process I'm about to share with y'all, but it actually changed everything for me, because for some reason, I really gravitate towards the lifestyle that people lived in America in the 80s. I just thought it just looked like the coolest thing ever to me. And, I see all these videos, I see how present people were, I see how happy everybody is, because no one has these damn phones. I genuinely think that's the main reason. And so, my approach to certain situations has been, all right, when I could pick up my phone and avoid an interaction with someone, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to act like I'm in the 80s, and I'm going to try and be present like they were in the 80s. It's a weird tactic, but I tell you, it worked for me so well. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about when I say the 80s were just life, it just seemed like peak life to me. Everyone was enjoying concerts, music and all these things. And I don't know, you see all these old videos and it seems like everyone was just so much more happier and present. And I genuinely think it's because of the phones. So that's just a method I use, is just put down the phone whenever normally you wouldn't, right? And that changed everything for me. So that's just one tip I have for you all. Is the biggest thing is just to put down the phone. And now, another big thing, which we're so used to, is food, right? There's America's the most obese we've ever been, and you think about how easy it is to get food. It's like no wonder. You could drive down the street to a McDonald's or a gas station and get pretty much whatever you want. And if you think about it, that's not how we're supposed to eat. That's not how we're supposed to fuel our bodies. That's not how we're supposed to live, right? We used to have to go out and work to get food. We have to go out and hunt, right? And that took some time. It took some sacrifice. And so they weren't getting that dopamine throughout the day until they finally got that hunt. They got the kill. And you think about how easy it is to go down the street and get a Big Mac, right? And by the way, if you've seen those videos of how they make the chicken, I promise you, you will not eat McDonald's ever again. I will never eat McDonald's ever again. And I ate it not too long ago, but I knew it was bad. But I've been seeing all these videos come out about how they make the chicken. Dude, it's like there was this guy, he was working like in some manufacturing plant, right? And he goes kind of behind the scenes and he's recording these videos, and it's for McDonald's, and he sees a bag. It literally says mechanical chicken processing. What the hell does that mean? But he opens the box and goes in the box, and it's just a bunch of gunk. It literally looks like throw up. It looks like throw up. And that's the chicken. That's what they make. That's what they use to make the chicken for McDonald's. I don't know. If you haven't seen that video, go look it up. It'll change your entire perspective on McDonald's. Anyways, getting off track. But food. Think about how easy it is to get food, right? I think dopamine is very much fueled by, food. How easy it is for us to get food instead of, taking time to cook your meals or even, go work out and then earn yourself a good meal afterwards, right? And, the whole idea of this is just that instant gratification. We're not meant to eat that often. It shouldn't be that easy for us to eat, but it is. And so you have to control yourself. You have to give yourself a little bit of leverage. You got to take a break from getting that every time you're hungry. Stop worrying about food so much. In the Bible, the Lord says, do not be anxious about what you will eat, about what you will drink, about what you will wear. There's no need to be anxious about food. There's no need to worry about what you're going to eat. That'll work itself out. Jesus is the bread of life. Seek him and he'll give you the food you need. But man, it's just crazy to me how easy it is for us to get food. So you kind of have to just reprogram yourself to do these things. And, in a world full of overstimulation, we've grown up with this. It's been very hard, and I've had to learn to redo it myself. But slowly over time, I've learned that it all starts with being present. You have to be present in the moment. You can't just avoid these situations because, we live in a world now where everyone thinks you got to have it now. You got to have it instantly. Instead of taking the time to be present and figuring out along the way, And that's a big part of it is, starting your mornings just present, That's changed everything for me. It's like having a decent morning routine, not even anything crazy, but like you don't want to waste your day away and wake up and then, start scrolling on your phone. You want to get up, assess the day, take your time, be present with it, have a slow morning, spend time with God, and he'll help you assess the day. But this dopamine detox, it's a process for sure. But you can do it. You can definitely reprogram yourself. The same way you programmed yourself to feel like you have to have everything now, the same way you can reprogram yourself to not think that way. It's just going to take some time. So I'm still working on it myself. But again, just like anything else, it takes time. It's like when you're working out. When you're trying to construct a good physique, you're not going to do it in one night, right? You're not going to go to the gym, come back, look in the mirror, and look better, maybe with a pump. But it's going to take years of training, of years of hard work. And people forget this whole idea that, perfection takes time. Not even that you'll be perfect, but, it takes time to make it anywhere. And this whole idea that everything has to be perfect is it's bullshit. It really is. Excuse my language, but it is. And that's just the main idea I wanted to hit on, is that, people like to think we live in a perfect world. They like to think everything needs to be perfect. Everything needs to be the way that they want it right now. And that's just completely unrealistic. And when you can train yourself to realize that, to see like that, because that's just the way it is. The world's not perfect. When you can train yourself to realize this, it'll make your life so much easier, so much better, because you're not going to expect the best out of every single situation, right? You'll be more patient. You'll learn to live more in the moment. You'll learn to wait for these things to come. You know, God tells us to be patient in all things, right? And he will provide. So that's the main idea I want to hit on is do your research on a dopamine detox, right? Do your research on what it is, right? And actually try and reprogram yourself to not be that way. And it's going to take time, but I promise you, if you can do this detox, it'll be worth everything. It'll be worth it. And it'll just help you gain so much more peace and clarity in your life and direction in your life. You know, I'm lucky at such a young age to have realized that this has changed everything for me. By just simply sitting down and just letting go of the things that I kept overstimulating myself with for so long, you know. But you can do it. I did it. Still working on it. Not perfect. I'm trying. And it'll change everything, I promise you. So dopamine detox, commit to it. You will become a way better person. You know, just, it doesn't have to be for like years or anything, you know. Just commit to it for, you know, start off with a couple of weeks, right? And it's crazy how much you can change in a couple of weeks, right? Just try to do things that you normally wouldn't, but you know that by waiting, by putting aside that instant gratification, by waiting and delaying that gratification, it will be worth it. And it's just, that's all God wants us to do, is be patient with him, right? And he will provide. But if you're not giving yourself the time to be patient, you're going to miss the opportunities. You're going to miss the things happening around you because you're so used to getting what you want right here and right now. And that's the problem with my generation, what I've seen. Not that my generation sucks or anything. I mean, Gen Z is kind of cooked, but it's the truth, you know? You got to delay that gratification. So that's my challenge for you all. Take a couple weeks, just commit to it. Commit to just putting down the phone, commit to just putting away the things that give you that instant dopamine hit, and delay it, right? Go on a little detox, and you're not gonna be perfect, but the more you practice it, the better you'll get at it, and the longer you can go, the better you will feel. So that's my challenge for you all, is to just do a dopamine detox. It'll change everything. So thank y'all for watching this video. This is not even mine, it's my dad's. Kind of cooked. But hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.